Good morning, gorgeous people. I hope you're having a great start to your Friday or Thursday if you're over in America or anywhere else in the world. So jumping in with today's live video, and I kind of want to, expand on what I spoke about last week, which was equalizing our emotions and how we can sometimes get a little bit hooked as well into a negative loop. And so this is a way of stepping above and beyond that. Hey Kylie, great to have you on, darling. Hey Sandra, lovely to see you on here as always. And Jody, lovely to have you on here. Say a big hello if you're just jumping on. So of course we're jumping into figuring out how to move beyond getting hooked into what we could probably say is drama or the drama triangle. I've been doing a lot of understanding around the drama triangle and how that can kind of play out for us, so I will explain that in today's video. Hey Mark, great to have you on. And also, I really like the 5 things that drive a lot of our ego survival mind programs. So when you find that you're feeling constantly frustrated or you're running a behavioral pattern, what you will find is that it's related to, or any emotion that you're experiencing generally will be related to one of these 5 things, because they're deep needs and wants, and they go back into needing a feeling of control, needing a feeling of security, needing a feeling of approval, and feeling either separation or wanting a feeling of oneness or unity. And quite often what actually goes on here, and I'll talk about the drama triangle shortly, but quite often what goes on, hey Christy, lovely to have you on here. Hey Simone, hey Liz, great to have you on here. So I will explain the drama triangle soon as well, and then the empowerment triangle and how you can literally switch from that. There's a great book called The Power of Ted. I'll post the title of that below if you're wanting to check it out. It's a quick read. It's like 3.5-4 hours, and really gives some very cool strategies and just huge self-awareness. You'll have that many light bulb moments, particularly not only for yourself personally, but also for your interpersonal relationships, intimate relationships, child-parent relationships, colleague relationships, client relationships, like all of these instances where this stuff kind of starts to play out. Hey Danny, great to have you on here, darling. And I did share a lot of this with my Inner Circle Mastermind group on Wednesday as well with the girls, which is also fabulous. But so the 5 things, first of all, in equalizing our emotions, so bridging what we spoke about last week, which was when we have a negative emotion, pick what that negative emotion is, or whatever you feel that you're feeling at the time, and find the opposite of that. So if it's hate, it might be love. If it's agitation, it could be feeling calm. If it's anxiety, it might be feeling loved or calm or peace. So pick whatever that is. So that's the first step that I spoke about in last week's video. Now this week, what it is doing the same process, so the same equalization process or equilibrium process. However, what we're actually going to be using is either control, security, approval, separation, or oneness. And so as you do this, it's just allowing yourself to feel as much control as you do at the moment, and then allow yourself to feel as much out of control as you actually feel at the moment. And so you oscillate again to spending a few moments in each, feeling as much control as you feel, and feeling as out of control as you feel, and feeling as in control as you feel, and feeling as out of control as you feel. And as you do this, it only honestly takes about 5 or 10 minutes. I was doing a lot of that this morning for myself. I ran all 5 of those ones, and afterwards just felt the calmest, honestly, that I've ever, well, not ever felt, but felt in a very long time. It's really great if you're going through very high, intense emotional challenges at the time. But not only that, is those 5 things, so wanting control, wanting separation, wanting approval, wanting security, and wanting oneness, will be driving. They're kind of like similar to Tony Robbins talks about, like the 6 human needs. They drive so much of what we actually do and so much of our behavior. And this is where, you know, if you've ever had that feeling of anxiety and feeling out of control, this is where like wanting security, wanting control will come up as needs or desires. And it's because you're not feeling in control, or you're not feeling secure within self, or secure in a situation, or secure with somebody, that's actually really activating a lot of this stuff for you. So when you can flip back and forth, it starts to balance out the brain. And initially you may feel a lot of emotion come up. I used a lot of tissues actually. Hey Kayla, great to have you on. Hey Paula, hey Chris, hey Donna. I used a lot of tissues this morning just because there was a lot of emotion. And after I'd done it for myself, then I did it with certain people as well. So I did it with my mum, even though she's passed. But often we can still hold on to the wanting approval or not feeling approval, or wanting security and not feeling security. And so as you do this process, what you'll start to find is that your relationships with people will really start to free up as well, because quite often if we've got deep hurt, or you know, we're just finding that we're kind of feeling a bit challenged around certain aspects or certain circumstances, this is a really great way to really set yourself free from this, in equalizing out of these emotions. And quite often if it's difficult to make a decision, or it's difficult to know what to do, or you're feeling confused or a loss of clarity for self, then again these aspects will actually be playing out for you. Hey Jody, hey Davo, great to have you on. So you can run that process. Like I said, it's just a back and forth of those 5 things. I'll put those 5 things below as well. And then I'll jump into explaining the drama triangle. You guys will love this. This is absolute gold. It is one of the greatest ways to actually step out of one paradigm and be able to choose and step into another paradigm where we feel empowered with choice and decisions. Anytime that we feel like a victim, it means that we've backed ourselves into a corner, and we feel that we have no other choice but to be powerless or a victim of the situation. So in the drama triangle, we have victim. We have on one aspect of the triangle, we have victim. We also have persecutor, and we also have a rescuer and fixer. Now this can play out a lot in codependent relationships as well. And on some level, I do feel like we can all kind of play into a little bit of that codependency at times as well, in wanting somebody's approval, wanting security. All of those things go back into grabbing or trying to hold on to. And as humans, we become either we have an attachment to or an aversion from. So either we're pulling something towards us, or we're pushing something away from us. And you will not ever feel free in that instance, because whilst we're pulling something towards us, generally, and especially if that's wanting a need or wanting something, it means that we're in lack, fear and scarcity, because we don't feel that we have that. Now when you work on that equilibrium process that I spoke about, you release the need to have all of that, because you aren't naturally that. It takes you out of your ego survival mind, which is fear-based, and steps you back into love and feeling you know, your normal natural sense of control, of security, of worthiness or approval, of feeling that you're an individual, but also you can be part of the one, and you're loved as a whole or as a collective with others as well. So with this drama triangle, we have the victim at the top, or you know, it can obviously be rotated in any way. With that, hey Anne, hey Deb, lovely to have you on. And the victim triangle, so often what happens is we feel that somebody has hurt us, somebody has done something, or we could even feel a victim of circumstance. If you wake up and go, oh, my body feels horrible, or my body feels really tired, oh, I have to go to work. Now you've put yourself in the victim phase because you have to. So, and I'm obviously oversimplifying with this, but this is how we end up feeling powerless in our world, or feeling obligated, or feeling, and it all comes from fear, lack and scarcity, instead of going, oh my God, I choose to go to work today because I choose to have a great income, or I choose to do this job because either it supports my family, or it's something that I love, or something something that I'm passionate about. And every single one of those choices enables you to make a decision as a divine creator, because in truth, that's actually what we really are. And that's what replaces the victim paradigm with the empowerment triangle. So at the top of the empowerment triangle, instead of victim, we have divine creator or creator. Instead of persecutor, we actually have challenger. And this is about lovingly confronting people rather than, doing it in a deconstructive way. You need to change your behavior and you need to be different. It's kind of like, hey, I'm just curious what's going on for you, what's happening for you, where you feel like you need to communicate in that way, or where you feel like you need to act in that particular way. We can be a loving challenger and really start to just kind of bring greater self-awareness, where this is really empowering relationships in a great way as well. Good morning, Jen. Lovely to have you on. And then we can step from being the fixer or the rescuer. Hands up the fixers or the rescuers. Honestly, I really relate to this. I feel like I've stepped into that space a lot. I used to be in the victim space a lot, and this is what happens when we get tired of playing the victim. Often we'll oscillate then between fixer, rescuer, and then persecutor. Again, this is codependent behavior. I put my hand up, own it fully. Like I said, I think on some level we can all kind of play into this at times where we feel overly responsible for somebody else or somebody else's happiness. The second we pick up the responsibility that is actually theirs, now we've disabled them. Now we're saying we're more powerful than you, or we're more capable than you, and we place them into the victim role, in which case they'll probably head to persecutor and persecute you for doing that. But then you also head to persecutor and go, well, you're annoying me because now you haven't taken responsibility for this, so now I have to do it, and now it's this obligation. And it's called the dreaded drama triangle. You can understand why it gets a fairly full on around this as well. Yes, absolutely. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, Liz? I think at times we all need that reminder. I know I certainly do, just to keep it front of mind. Hey, Di, lovely to have you on. Definitely. And so as we then move, instead of persecutor, you can opt to become a challenger, a loving, confronting challenger that's like, hey, what's going on with you? Or where are you up to? What's happening for you? Let me understand more. And then we can step into coach as opposed to be the fixer rescuer. A coach never picks up responsibility for somebody else. They know 100%, and I can attest to this, it would not ever work for my clients if I was like, oh, here, let me do that thing for you. Here, it would be an impossible task for me to do all the things, that my clients felt that they needed done in order for them to feel successful or for them to feel okay, and completely disempowers them in the process. And I often use an analogy, it's like me getting in the hole with somebody. I cannot help somebody if I'm wallowing in the hole with them. And often as victims, and please forgive me for using this, but often we can wallow in our own self-pity. I've done it, or feel woe is me, my life is horrible, or my life is hard, or my life is terrible, or this is happening to me rather than this is happening for me. And then realizing or stepping back into that empowered creator, which gets to choose. It's like, hang on a second, what could this be teaching me? And as we do that for ourselves, now we're stepping into loving challenger for ourselves rather than being a victim. It's the one thing that will help us to step out of that and then go, hang on a second, rightio, if this situation is happening for a reason, what is the lesson in this? What is it teaching me? How can I grow from this? How can I learn from it? And what do I want instead? And now we're stepping back into creator by going, well, what is it that I do want? And the main specific differences between victim and between creator: victim focuses on problem, creator focuses on what it is that they want to create instead, or on the solution or the outcome that they desire. So you can see, obviously, there's a very distinct difference. When we're focused solely on the problem, you can't get out of, or you cannot create a solution for a problem with the same level of thinking that created the problem. Albert Einstein said that, and I totally agree on so many levels, and quantum physics supports this. Quantum physics backs this up, because whatever we're feeling at the time, so if we're focused on the problem, we're feeling like a victim, we're feeling powerless, now we're just attracting, by law of attraction, by law of quantum physics, we're attracting more and more situations and problems that actually make us feel even more powerless, more out of control, or more incapable of being able to solve our big problem. So again, switching back over and then becoming our own coach, and championing ourselves. Hey girl, you've got this. Hey girl, you can do this. I believe in you. I trust in you. Rather than being the fixer or the rescuer, or letting somebody else, or believing that you need somebody else to fix you or rescue you. Again, that puts us back into the victim position, and you'll end up persecuting that person, and that person will end up persecuting you. And persecution can just be resentment, obligation, feeling angry or feeling frustrated. And often we do this unknowingly by placing expectations on others without actually communicating effectively in what our expectations are. And you know, that's really, really, really unfair to do that to others and then be pissed at them for not being the way that you wanted them to be. And it leads to a lot of distrust in relationships. It leads to a lot of misunderstandings. Often this can happen even just with love languages, where one person's love language might be physical touch, the other might be acts of service. And so silently somebody's saying, well, you know, if only they hugged me, you know, then I'd know that they loved me. Or if only they wanted to spend quality time with me, I'd know that they love me. But no, they're off running around doing all this other stuff. The other person's over there going, well, if they could only appreciate everything I'm doing for them, then I'd feel acknowledged, then I'd feel... You can see how not being direct in our communication just creates so many misunderstandings, and often leads us back into this victim position of feeling they don't get me, they don't understand me. That is not their job, guys, and it is not their job to love you, respect you, or appreciate you. That is your job, and when you're doing that for yourself, you will naturally attract more people that do that for you. It's been one of my greatest lessons and learnings in life. When I'm not appreciating me, often I will attract criticism or negativity, because I'm beating up on myself. I'm not being kind to myself. Now, thankfully, I don't do that much these days, so I do get a lot of appreciation. I do get a lot of acknowledgement from others, which feels beautiful, but it's only feedback. It's only the feedback because I was the divine creator, decided what I chose for myself, decided to create that for myself in appreciating, loving, and respecting self, and then doing the things that helped me appreciate me, or help me love me, or help me respect me and value me, which now in effect also helps other people do that. I communicate much more effectively these days. I've still got a way to go with that, as we all can at times, just in communicating much more effectively, clearly, and honestly. And I think it's one of the most difficult things. I don't know whether this is difficult for men as well. I'm going to guess that perhaps it is. Hey Jared, lovely to have you on. And good morning, beautiful Erica. I'm going to guess that it probably is. I know for women, and particularly because I do coach a lot of women, I do coach some wonderful men as well, but I know for a lot of women, they feel bad, they feel guilty, they feel wrong, they feel it's selfish to be direct and clear in your communication. And often this is what men actually really need and appreciate, so they don't have to freaking second guess or try and mind read you as to what it is that you actually want. It's so powerful when we can clearly and directly ask for what we want, not in a demanding way, not in a threatening way, not where we're trying to get control or trying to get security or trying to get approval from somebody, but in a clear, articulate way. And when you're loving you, when you're appreciating you, when you value you, your relationships will feel so much cleaner and clearer in the energy. Often there's the enmeshment of energy. We're picking up what other people's feelings are, and then we're becoming responsible and taking that on board, but then negating our own responsibility to self and for our own emotions, then in effect perhaps blaming somebody else for how you feel, and in which case that keeps us locked into that victim, persecutor, fixer, rescuer paradigm. And often we also do this with our kids, and particularly if you take responsibility, if you do not give your kids the opportunity to take responsibility for themselves, in picking up after themselves, in learning how to take care of themselves, in doing all of those things. If you're constantly stepping in as the fixer and the rescuer, either they will become entitlement, stepping into that entitlement phase where it's like, yeah, everything's done for me, the world owes me, and that is such a disservice that we can do for our kids or future generations. Or the other thing that happens is that we get so angry and so frustrated that they feel unloved, they feel a lack of self-worth, because they actually feel like a victim, or they feel powerless, or they don't feel capable or able because they've never had to be. And we rob them so much of the opportunity to grow, to learn, for us to be their coach in saying, hey, you got this, you can do this. I know it's something you haven't done before, but wow, you know, you're going to go great at this. And if not, you know, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to learn, all of those different things as well. And I think, you know, in saying that, we all also have our inner child who we can be vicious with at times. We can tend to beat them up pretty bad and go, stop being so stupid, or stop being so emotional, or stop being blah blah blah. And our inner child often feels overlooked and criticized. And of course, if you're speaking to yourself like that, how is that encouraging you? How is that supporting you? How is that nourishing you? We really need to step back into self-love and compassion, and really deliver huge doses of that to ourselves. Self-love and forgiveness of self breeds more compassion, breeds more understanding. Acceptance of self means acceptance of others, and where we can lovingly be that challenger. We don't have to be the persecutor or the fixer rescuer when somebody is having a tough time or going through a particular circumstance. So when we step into that self-responsibility, it really does free us up a whole lot. Use the equilibrium process like I spoke about those 5 things: the security, control, approval, separation, and oneness. And that will also help you to regain greater internal control and locus, rather than trying to exert control externally so that you can feel better internally. It's always an internal job, guys. With that, my rant is over. I hope that's been really helpful for you. Please send me some love if that has been, or that resonated at all for you. Hey Jade, lovely to have you on. And as always, would love if you felt compelled to share it with somebody that you know that it could help, or with somebody that you love and care about. And yeah, having a magnificent day. So much gratitude for you all jumping on and being on here with me as well. I always love kind of sharing, and obviously it reinforces the message for myself as well. Often a lot of the things that I'm talking about is what I've just recently learned about, or it might be a new tool or a strategy. So always looking to obviously solidify that learning deeper inside myself. And I think that we do that very well when we can share then what it is that we've learned with somebody else, because it means that now you've learnt it at a deeper level. And Joe Dispenza often does that in his courses as well, where it's like, yeah, take in the information, okay, explain what I just said to the person beside you, and it's really great because it makes you there's a new level of understanding to be able to articulate something to somebody else in a way that they can then learn and understand. So have an amazing day, guys. Loads of love to you all, and yes, I truly hope that that's been helpful for you. Have a great day. Bye.